Hi everyone, it's Jenny again. Thank you for watching my channel, and today's actually is about preparing for your interview, specifically for college interviews, grad school interviews, dental school, medical school, and also for residency interviews. So I'll tell you a little bit about my experience. I actually have been on both sides. I've been interviewed and I've been the interviewee. Yeah, that way. So I've interviewed for dental school, I've interviewed for residency, and I've interviewed for jobs. I've also done the opposite, where I have interviewed people that want to go to dental school, I've interviewed people that want to be in my residency program, and I've interviewed people that want to work with me. So how do we do this? An interview could be a very stressful thing to go through. I noticed every time I had an interview, I was always stressed. No matter how well prepared I was always stressed and nervous and anxious to go through it. But preparation here is key. You need to be, like I've said before, pre-prepared. Prepared before the preparedness. And that's how you excel, and that's how you execute an amazing interview. So here are my tips about good interviews. First tip, once you know you have an interview somewhere, look at their website. Look at what they have on their website, what they have to offer, what they're doing, any innovative new thing, what they stand for. Read all of that. You want to read through their website so you get to know them better. And if through the website you come up with questions, jot them down. You want to have those questions so when you go to the interview, you have questions to ask. Second thing is reflection. You want to reflect on what you want from a program. What does a program have to offer for you? And can they accommodate you and your learning styles? You want to make sure you're going to a program that will help you in your future and make you the best person you can be. Either the best physician, the best pharmacist, the best whatever it is, you want to be the best. And can they be able to do that for you? Third thing, and this one is one of the really important ones. Do you know somebody that goes to this program or is a part of this program? Well, if you do, you should pick their brains. Get in contact with them and ask them questions about it. Ask them questions like, what do they like about it? What do they dislike about it? Are they happy? If they had to do it all over again, would they go back to that same program? And then you also want to ask them, if you can change one thing about your school or your program, what would it be and why? And that will give you more of an insight to a person inside of the institution, inside the program, and see if you actually want to be a part of it. And I think if you have somebody, that is a very good way to go about it. Look online for questions, just generic interview questions, or if you can find questions that they ask in medical schools, or they ask in dental schools, or they ask in res, if you can find some questions, look for them. And then start trying to formulate answers to them. I'm not saying memorize your answers, I would say formulate, meaning you say it aloud to yourself, see how it sounds to you, see if you could tweak it a little bit, and just try to figure out the best way that comes out. Because sometimes I get a question and I thought in my head I answered it right, but then I say it and it doesn't come out right. So you want to say it out loud and see how it sounds to you. Does it sound genuine? Does it sound truthful? Is that really what you wanted to project to the other person? You have to start thinking about those things before you end up going to the interview and answering those questions out loud to somebody. So some of the generic questions are, tell me about yourself. That's actually a very hard question to answer. What do you want to know? Do you want to know 20 years about myself, or what are the specific things you want to know about myself? So you have to figure that stuff out. So tell me about yourself is such a good question that anybody can ask you and you should be able to answer. Tell me about your hobbies. Tell me about your 5-year goals. Tell me about your 10-year goals. Tell me why you wanted to come here. Those are very generic questions you should be able to answer for the interviewer. Now, I have another tidbit that you should do. Like how I just went over, answer the questions out loud. Another thing you can do is practice with somebody else. Have a friend come over and have them question you, give you the question. So they'll give you a question and you answer them, and you guys can have a dialogue about how that answer sounded. So I actually did this while I was before I interviewed to dental school. I was very nervous, and so I had one of my roommates just pop up and give me a bunch. I gave her a list of questions and she just asked me whatever she wanted. And so it was really good practice. So then when I was with somebody else, an actual interview, I didn't feel as nervous and I was still able to process and think the questions. Because have you ever had, or at least I know I have, but have you ever been so nervous that you can't even think? I don't want that to happen to you. So just practice. Just practice. Have people ask you whatever questions they want, just so you're practicing answering these questions out loud. With that being said, I would also recommend having situations in your brain that could answer a question. For example, every time I go to an interview, I always have situations that could work for different questions. Meaning, if somebody asks me, I'm trying to figure out an example right now. Can you name an instance where you were very helpful to somebody? Okay. So you have to have those kind of examples or situational things in mind, because you don't want to blank out, because you're nervous. It is potential you can't blank out. I don't want you to blank out. So have a question like, yeah, I remember, one time I helped this friend do this, this, and this. Also, with ethical, you want to have those situational things. So an ethical dilemma, have that in your brain. Something that you can definitely talk about, and you don't want to talk about something too harsh. But again, you want to have examples ready. Next thing you want to know is the interview format. You don't want to learn about the interview format when you get there. You want to know before. Meaning, is it small group interviews? Is it individual interviews? If it's individual interviews, how many interviews will you have and how long are they? You want to know the whole itinerary, or at least close to the whole itinerary of the day, so you don't have anything that scares you on the day of and makes you become more nervous and more anxious on the day of. Now for your interview, do not reiterate your application. When you go to interviews, sometimes it's closed book, meaning they don't know anything about you, and sometimes it's open book. If it's open book, you do not want to say everything in your application all over again. Why? You're not adding anything to this. So maybe you want to have instances of things after your application. So you applied, say, in August, and you have 4 months that they don't know anything about. Add stuff from there. Add stuff from who you are as a person. Anything else that adds to your application. You just don't want to reiterate everything you said and they didn't learn anything about you. Okay? So interviews are made to get to know you as a person, your characteristics, how friendly you are, your manners, all this other stuff. So for when you go there, it's not only about you, it's also about them. You get to know them as people. Do you like people? Do you like this program as people, or do you like the school? You're on an interview, but you're also interviewing. Think about that. Say you go to an interview, you don't like the program, you don't like the students, you don't like the school. That's good. You figured it out before you got there, because then you don't want to be stuck there and not be happy. So you have to know that. This is another very important key here. Know when you first step in, you're on interview mode, meaning you are not being mean to anybody. You're being very polite, gestures, nice, everything. You walk into that building, you're on an interview. Everybody is seeing you. Think about it that way. You don't want to act rude to somebody that works there and find out that they had something to do with you not getting in. With that being said, be yourself. Don't overthink anything. Don't be somebody you're not. It does show. You're being genuine does show. For me, this is an important one. If you come across a really hard question and you don't know the answer, or you need a little time, ask them for a little time, okay? This is how you would format it. You don't have to do exactly how I'm telling you, but around there. Hey, that's a very good question. Can you give me a minute to think about it? And they'll be like, okay. And take that minute to actually think about it. And you want to think about how you're going to project it, how you're going to say it. You just don't. The problem with answering the question right away is sometimes you don't answer, either you answer the wrong question, you're not even answering the question, or you just straight up go somewhere else, and that's the worst thing to do. Just not even answering the question, blatantly just going somewhere else. And if you don't understand the question, Ask them, is this what you're trying to ask me? And you reiterate what you think they're trying to ask you. If you don't understand the question, let them know you don't understand it. You don't want to be answering the wrong question. This is always important, and I'm sure everybody knows. Always arrive early. Don't arrive on time. You're late if you arrive on time. You want to arrive early. And this is why. You can get lost on the way there. You can have to walk from where you park. There's so many things that could arise. There can be an accident on the way. Just get there early. 10, 20 minutes early, 30 minutes. I would say 30 minutes because that's how I am. I'd rather be there 30 minutes early, sit around and just breathe than arrive there right on time and I'm sweating and I don't know, I'm flustered, I look flustered. I'd just rather be there really early. Okay, last but not least, I have a couple things. Arrive early, sleep well, and just take a deep breath. You'll do so well on your interview. Guys, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, anything else you would suggest other people to do for their interviews, how to get prepared, if you have any other comments, any helpful tips, please comment below. Please subscribe and share and like. Thank you. Bye.